Welcome to TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers. I am Dr. Eileen Hale, the COO of our organization, this program called Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers. We are a program of the Rhodes Education Foundation. Today we have a special guest with us, Marion ARAEZ. I'll let her pronounce her name better than I can do. But she's joining us from France today, and she's an English language teacher who's teaching online through YouTube. And she's going to share with us how and why she started her YouTube platform. And for those of you who are interested, we will be following up with technical details of how you might be able to do something similar. So welcome, Marianne. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy and excited to share all the secrets. And yeah.
Great. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Could you just share a little bit more background of even maybe what you were doing teaching before you started this online YouTube program that you have, and why you started to develop curriculum with YouTube?
Yeah, sure. So I teach only adults, French adults who want to have a better English level. And I focus on intermediate level. So my previous experience was just teaching English in general. I wasn't really focusing on any type of level, any specific people, nationalities. But I thought it would be better to niche down and find some kind of niche which will be easier to attract clients and also easier to create content for, because if you create content for everyone, in the end it doesn't speak to one specific person, and it's not really efficient anymore. So that's what I did before, and now I'm only focusing on intermediate level, and usually B1, that's the level I have in France. And yeah, I'm using YouTube now, which is very different from before. I was only teaching face-to-face before. I was driving to companies, spending hours in the car, in the traffic, which was awful. And when COVID hit, there was a big change, and like it was a good change for me. I don't know if it was the same for everyone, but it was a good change for me because it kind of forced me to put my business online and to try to find clients online, to be more open to that and learn like from scratch, basically.
That's amazing. Interestingly enough, one of our board members, Kira Sage, does something very similar to what you're doing. And she is doing the same in Silicon Valley, California, driving to clients and spending a lot of time in the car. So it's great to see the migration in a positive way to what you can do online.
Yeah.
So can you just give us a quick kind of broad overview of how you even developed your clientele? Obviously, you sound like you had clientele before, so you brought them to your online platform, but even how you were able to build up new clientele from there and how it's working behind the scenes.
Okay, so yeah, basically, I usually teach with a limited amount of hours. So my clients, they usually have 2 month program, and they can repeat the program if they want. But that's how I work, and I use YouTube to help them have a different kind of content, to have extra listening practice, and just to have something that is a bit more casual as well, that is not like grammar lesson or like gap fills. No, it's just a bit more casual. They can just watch it when they want, how many times they want as well, and they can learn from it as they go, really.
That's fantastic. How did you just start developing the content creation? What did you start with for your first YouTube, and how did you know what to include, what not to include? There's a lot to learn on this new platform.
Yes, YouTube is a different platform. It's quite complicated. And if I look back to my videos, the first ones, I think I actually not deleted them, but they're on private now
Yeah.
because it wasn't actually my niche. And I started with very broad, very general subjects, and the quality was good, but it's not what I should have focused on. So yeah, I think they're not on YouTube anymore. But the thing is, you need to think before just jumping on YouTube. You need to research, you need to take time to think of the types of videos you want to post, the length of the video you want to post, and the content, of course. And that's where the niche comes very handy. You need to have a very specific niche for YouTube, especially for language teachers, because with the English language, you have tons of videos on YouTube. So yeah, again, if you're not too niche down, so if you don't have a very specific level, or maybe nationality, or maybe subject, it could be business, or I don't know, trade, or I don't know, any kind of very specific subject, it's going to be very difficult to grow and to attract anyone, because you will just be lost in the flood of videos, really.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I appreciate you've mentioned for our listeners the importance of finding your niche, your special spot of who your clients are. And as Marion mentioned, she has French clientele that are intermediate level adults, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
And that's really important. I think, like you said, the more narrow, if you will, in your focus, the better success you may have. Because if you try to do too broad of a stretch of your bandwidth, you might lose the benefit of having a really great focused lessons that you can prepare. How many clients do you have currently?
Um, Currently, I haven't counted, but I would say I have about 15 clients at the moment that
15,
are
1 5?
doing,
Yeah.
yeah, that are doing the same program online, and working with YouTube and all the different content I put out there.
So you do live sessions with them at the same time as the YouTube, or you give them YouTube as like homework, so to speak? And
Yeah, YouTube is extra, and sometimes I use YouTube videos as warmers as well, which is very handy. So I have a playlist which is English lessons, and so every time, like, I need an idea for a warmer or something at the end, when you have 10 minutes, let's say, and you don't really know what to focus on, you can just copy paste the video and focus on the one specific thing of the video. So it comes very handy to have videos on YouTube for that.
yeah, that's great. Are these ones that you're sharing publicly on your site as well for our listeners?
Yeah, they're all public, and everyone can watch them. But when I use them in my course, in my program, I make it more individual, because it's all individual lessons.
Right.
So of course I can choose the one video that is quite good for the specific student, depending on the level, the needs, and the topic of the day. So yeah, it's much more specific.
That's great. Can I ask, how do you go about charging your clients on this platform, and how you charge them for your class, and do you charge them for the YouTubes as well? Or how does that work again, for our listeners to understand better?
Yeah, sure. So you can't really, I mean, you could charge for YouTube, but the platform is free. So I don't really know how it could work to include that. But you could definitely include that in your price. What I do is, people, when they come for my program, because it's online, you can't really tell them, well, give me cash. It doesn't
Right.
work like that. So you usually have PayPal or Stripe or transfer. I use usual bank transfers if they're in France. That's the usual payment. And I do that beforehand, because I believe it's just the best option if you don't want to have any surprises. And you know, people are more involved as well in the program if it's paid in advance than if it's just at the end and then they forget about you.
Definitely.
Yeah, but for the YouTube, for me it's free, and I use it as extra, as I said, extra lessons. But for example, what I did is I created another product aside from my lessons. And in that program, in that course, it was just 20 common mistakes people are making in English.
Yeah.
And I did 4 YouTube videos, and they are private, and I added them to that product. So in a way, they paid, I guess, for the YouTube videos, but it's included in the price, you know, that of the product. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I've heard of some subscriptions to a YouTube channel, for example. That's why I was asking that question.
Yeah, you can, but I think there is, you know, with YouTube, you have a limit that you need a limit amount of subscribers that you need to have for that. And I think it's quite high, really, really high.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not the first thing you have in mind when you start.
Good to know. Good to know. So for your YouTube creation, how frequently are you creating them, and how do you develop the content of them specifically?
Mm-hmm. For the content, I try to look at what my regular clients ask me about, because it's usually the same questions again and again. So
Yeah.
I create content with that. And I also look at what is trendy. So I look on TikTok, YouTube videos, Instagram, all the different platforms, and I try to create videos from that. It could also be with the calendar, like, is it Christmas soon? Yes, okay, let's create some videos about Christmas, because that's very easy to do, and people usually enjoy these kind of specific topics as well, or Thanksgiving, or yeah. So that's usually about the content. And as for the creation side, I usually film twice a month, I would say, and I post 1 video per week. But usually I'm not really organized. So sometimes I end up filming lots of videos, or I'm a bit late, and I need to film them because I need to post them the day after. So yeah, that's the thing with YouTube as well. You need to be very organized, because as all the social platforms, you need to stay consistent. So if you post once a week, you post once a week, and that's it. You can't really say, no, I will post in 3 weeks or 1 month. It doesn't work like that. So being organized is key.
That's very important. Thanks for sharing that. What are the other challenging sides of YouTube that you found as you develop these online curriculum, for your students?
I think the content is quite easy to find. So the curriculum side is quite easy, because we always have ideas, and you have so many different ideas from online already that it's quite easy to not copy the idea, but to think, oh yeah, I could actually talk about that, and just add my tips, or the way I teach, my examples, and make it my own. But the difficult part is probably all the creation side, so the editing, the time that it takes, and having the money to invest in a camera, because everyone says, yeah, you can start with a phone, but let's be honest, filming 1 hour video with your phone is not very practical.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And learning about the whole editing process is quite a learning curve for most of us who aren't necessarily, familiar with it and or competent at doing all the editing. Do you outsource anything, or you do everything yourself?
I do everything myself, just because I tried one editor not a long time ago, and I didn't like the result at all. So I think it's very difficult, and from other people's opinions as well, it's quite difficult to find the one editor that is going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you really don't have the time, it's good to outsource. But if you can do it yourself, it will be done the right way and the way you like it. So it's probably better than regretting posting it because it looks awful.
Right, right. And then you have to go back and forth with the editor on what you like.
In the end, it's just a waste of time, really. But
Yeah. Unless you find somebody that you really sync with, we say, then...
Yeah, exactly. That has the same views, the same ideas, and also someone who is going to research from your previous videos and see what you like, which is, I think, probably very difficult to find.
Yeah, that's a lot of challenges to that.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the greatest benefits, the practical aspects of making the YouTube videos and using this for your teaching? What kind of feedback do you even get from your students and your clients?
So the first one is probably it's easier to attract clients, which is a great thing. Because as I said, we have so many competitors. Like it's a big world of language teaching, and if people see you and they can actually watch a video of you explaining things, they start to know and trust you. And that's just easier than to sell your course, your program, just much easier to attract the clients. So that's a big thing. Even if you don't have a lot of subscribers, it's very important for them to see you. And posting a photo on Instagram is not the same at all. It's not the same as a YouTube videos where they see you and they hear you as well. For example, I have students, they told me, well, I watched your videos and I understand you. So that's fantastic. Because they're always a bit scared, that they're not going to understand because it's in English. So it's also a way to reassure them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I watched one of your videos when you were explaining this, and it makes it so much more personal, like you said, that personal connection. And also I appreciated how I actually studied French years ago, but how you did an introduction in French to make people also feel comfortable that, if they need the support of their first language, that you're there for them in that regard too. They don't have to feel intimidated that everything's all English, and if they don't understand, you won't understand them.
Like bye.
Right. So that's actually, again, going back to your niche, is that you're a native French speaker, but you're teaching English for French speaking clients, for our listeners. So find your niche, whether that be in your own country or a different language group, whatever that might be, but that's extremely important to your success. Definitely. Anything else, sorry, you want to add to the benefits of doing this rather than even being in your car and driving around? If there's post-COVID, what would you do? Would you still continue along these veins now that you're having success in this area?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't like to go back to teaching in companies, for example, and driving around, because I found that teaching groups, when you don't really know the groups and you just go to the company and they say, yeah, we have that group. Okay, cool. But I found that it was quite challenging, and it's a lot of preparation. You have mixed levels. It's not really what you like or you really want to do. So I think when you have something online and you can choose what you like, what you're good at, and your niche, then it's also a way of saying, I have my ideal clients and that's what I want to do. And I don't need to teach other people, which they will be great for other teachers. But for me, I have this ideal client and that's the only person I want to work with.
Yeah, that's actually very insightful, because I don't think people realize, the challenges of, it sounds great to go to Google and wherever you might be and teach these high level people at a tech company or something, but the challenges are often not discussed, of how many levels there might be, all the different needs they have. So I like how you have your selected clients, if you will. That's actually really important. And then you build that relationship with them over time.
Exactly, yeah. And YouTube helps a lot. It helps a lot with that, I think. Yeah. Even if they don't speak to you directly, they think they do in a way. So, and then you can comment and reply to their comments, etc. So there is a special relationship with YouTube, and it helps with your ideal clients and attracting more of these ideal clients as well.
That's great. So just to kind of summarize a little bit of what we've discussed. So let's say you have 15 clients and you're posting one YouTube a week, but you're meeting with those 15 clients at least once or maybe twice a week as well.
Yeah, I'm actually teaching quite a lot because it's a 2-month program online. I teach each of them 2 or 3 hours a week, so I can't really have more clients,
Yeah,
but that's great because I don't need more clients.
right.
So yeah, every one of the clients has 1, 2 or 3 sessions a week basically, and
Okay.
the videos.
Okay. So you make one video for all 15 clients because they're the same level. You're able to streamline
Exactly. It's the
that part
same
of it.
level. They are following the same program that I adapt, of course, because it's individual lessons. But that's the beauty of it. Then if you find your perfect client, you have
Right.
less preparation and it's less overwhelming for you, and you can focus on interesting things than just researching what kind of warmer you're going to do for 15 minutes.
Yeah, right, right. What do you do when you have somebody approach you either higher or lower level than what you're teaching and ask for your expertise? Would you decline them as a client?
Yeah,
Or do you
that's
try to
that's a
adapt?
very good question. I think at the beginning you accept kind of everyone because you need the money or you need the experience.
Right.
But now what I do is I usually tell them that I can't because that's not what I teach, and I refer them to other teachers that I know. And I think that's a great way to network as well.
Yeah,
If you have connections, you can refer to them, and it's just building up. And in the end, everyone is going to refer people, the correct and perfect person, to the
right.
perfect teacher as well.
Yeah, that's great that you shared that with us. Thank you. Any other specific advice you would give teachers who want to specialize in an area like you have or become entrepreneurial, whether it's through YouTube or not? Maybe not everybody has the ability to do what you're doing with YouTube, but even just being a competent online teacher, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to launch into this area of teaching?
I would say just go for it, because if you like it, then it's going to show, and people are going to enjoy watching you or reading what you have to say. So yeah, just go for it, but make sure you're ready as well. So research beforehand, try to look at other accounts, other teachers, what do they do, what is working or not working, and find your niche, as I said, because it's very difficult to say just I'm going to teach English. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, quite difficult.
Yeah, even I teach English in Florida, but I speak Spanish better than I
Mhm.
speak French. And so, I mean, that would be a niche for me, for example, just having Spanish speaking speakers as like because I speak Spanish, I feel comfortable working with them in English
Mhm.
in Florida where there's a lot of Spanish speakers. So thank you. Other teaching tips, can I just summarize what we've been talking about that you would like to share?
Well, the other thing that is probably very important is to have a good mindset before you jump into the online course and online teaching, because it's a very competitive area, and you need to really love it if you want to make it work. Because if you keep comparing yourself to others, it's going to be quite an awful experience probably. So yeah, just have a good mindset, and work and give good content to people, and it will be rewarded for sure.
That's great. One thing we didn't talk about, it just occurred to me, was how do you keep track? I mean, what system platform do you use for your 15 clients in terms of, are they Google Docs that you have for everybody as you're tracking them over time? What platform do you use for your lesson plans, if you will, the individualized ones?
So what I did is I programmed everything. So the full program is already done, is already planned. And I have like a Google Doc with all my links, with all my warmer and the main activities and listenings, readings, etc. and different links as well from the YouTube playlist for my English lessons. So that's really practical because I just need to say, okay, today's lesson 1, I'm going to look at lesson 1. I have this and this planned, and I just need to click and everything is already done and ready. So that's also a good tip if you don't want to waste your time planning every day for the same kind of lessons that you have. So planning something in advance, and you can always adjust and make, differences depending on the levels, but at least you have the core that is already done. And I use Skype for the individual lessons and Zoom if I have group sessions, because that's just the most practical one, probably.
Okay.
And all the editing is done on iMovie, which is free on Apple products. So that's great. And something also very practical is Calendly, which is a free website where your students, they can actually book the lessons, and it is showing the calendar depending on your activities, lessons, so everything that you planned on your own calendar, it will show that it's not available for them, and so they can book what's available in the end. So you don't have to call them and say, oh, when are you free for the next session, or send emails, and no, to just do everything themselves, which is great. I think that's a great tool.
That's a wonderful resource for our listeners. Again, that's Calendly.
Yeah.
So that's in our notes, like calendar, but it's calendly.com. Again, that's in our notes. And Marianne has also mentioned a couple things: Skype or Zoom for the meetings, iMovie for editing, as well as some other resources she shared before with me was ESL Brains. Do you want to share a bit about that, and National Geographic as you use for their content?
Yeah, so these two websites are fantastic, and you can find already made lessons on there. And I would say it's more intermediate or advanced levels, but it's just really good materials, and you have videos there, grammar, vocabulary, everything is already made, but in a really good way. And National Geographic is just fantastic. You can read articles about the planet, the environment, so it's great for specific vocabulary as well. And they have readings with different levels. So the same reading is meant for A2, B1, etc. So it's adapted, which is really good.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing these resources with our listeners. Again, ESL Brains, BRAINS.com, and nationalgeographic.com are both great resources for developing your curriculum. I'm just going to return one more time to our top teaching tips to summarize. Do your research, spend time observing others on platforms of your choice before jumping in. Discover what you're good at and what you really want to teach. Even within that, your niche of the clientele that you want to teach, whether it's beginning, intermediate, or advanced, and whether they're French speaking, what their first language might be, or broader than that. Have a positive mindset. Don't compare yourself to others. Jump in and you'll have great success, we hope. If you want to reach Marianne, can you share places and ways they can reach you or follow up with you?
Sure, yes. On Instagram, it's KindaCosy, and my website is the same. So it's KindaCosy.fr. And my YouTube channel is English with KC. So the two letters K and C for KindaCosy.
Great. I appreciate your resources for us and sharing your great expertise. Marianne, if those of you who are listening, we appreciate your participation today. And if you would like, you're interested in a follow-up workshop with Marianne, please email us at tteltinfo@gmail.com. She has a busy month, but if there's enough interest, we will reach back and see if she can present a live workshop with us. So again, please indicate your interest at tteltinfo gmail.com. And you can even mention in the subject line, YouTube creation or online teaching with Marion. Thank you so much, Marion, for your time today. Any final comments or ideas that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Well, thank you so much first. And I was very glad and happy to share some of the secrets, if I can call that secrets. And if anyone has questions and is interested, I will be happy to do the workshop. So yeah, don't hesitate.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch with you and greatly appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.